Hello, my dear students. In this lecture, we are going to see conduction, convection, heat transfer through a composite cylinder. Now, my dear students, to understand conduction, convection, heat transfer through composite cylinder, let us understand first conduction heat transfer through a single cylinder, then conduction heat transfer through a composite cylinder, and after that we will impose a condition that there is a convection heat transfer also. So one by one in three stages we will understand this case. Now in first stage we will understand conduction heat transfer through a hollow cylinder. Now my dear students, let us consider one hollow cylinder. Let us say this is a hollow cylinder of outside radius r2 and there is a inside radius r1, right? Likewise there is a hollow cylinder. Now let us say this inside radius, here there is a center of cylinder, this is center line of cylinder. Now my dear students, this cylinder will be having some length L. Likewise this cylinder will be having some length L, right? For this length L, now my dear students, let us say this is the length of cylinder L, and here inside radius will be r1, right, and outside radius will be r2, right? Here outside radius will be r2. Let us say at inside radius the temperature is T1. When radius is r1, temperature is T1, and when radius is r2, temperature is T2, right? Now my dear students, here my assumption is that the inside surface is at higher temperature as compared to outside surface. This is our assumption. That means we are assuming here T1 is more than T2. Inside wall temperature is more than outside wall temperature. Now my dear students, there are few assumptions for this case. Here we are doing some assumptions, and by using these assumptions we are doing analysis over here. So let us write down assumptions. Wait, we will see assumptions. Here the assumptions are same like plane wall problem. Very first is steady state heat transfer. It is a steady state conduction or heat transfer. Steady state heat transfer means temperature is not a function of time, right? Temperature will not change with respect to time. Means this inside surface which is subjected at temperature T1, this will be the constant temperature at any time, as well as the outside temperature of this wall will be constant at T2 at any time, right? And here therefore temperature is a function of only radial direction. This is the second assumption, that is 1D heat transfer. Now again, because of steady state heat transfer, the heat transfer at every location will be same. Let us say heat transfer at distance r at any radius r will be equal to heat transfer at radius r plus dr. This is called steady state heat transfer condition. Now second assumption is 1D heat transfer, 1D conduction, or 1D heat transfer, conduction heat transfer, right? 1D conduction heat transfer. That means here the temperature is a function of radial direction only. There is a radial heat transfer, therefore temperature is a function of radius only here, right? My dear students, that means the heat is flowing along radial direction. That is, the heat always flows from high temperature to low temperature, that is from T1 to T2 radially outward. Likewise the heat is flowing radially outward. Likewise, right, this is the direction of heat flow, right? Heat, that is radially outward heat is flowing here. This is the meaning of 1D conduction. Then the third assumption is uniform thermal conductivity. Uniform thermal conductivity, uniform thermal conductivity K. Here this cylinder material will be having some thermal conductivity value K, right? And the thermal conductivity of this cylinder will be constant, that is uniform at every location. With respect to change in temperature, this thermal conductivity is not changing, it is a constant value. This is our assumption. Now my dear students, this thermal conductivity is having unit of watt per meter Kelvin, right? Now these are the few assumptions. By using these assumptions we are doing analysis over here. So let us go for analysis. Now my dear students, here the heat is flowing radially outward, therefore let us understand the boundary conditions first, right? What are the boundary conditions? Now my dear students, the boundary conditions are, very first boundary condition, whenever radius is equal to r1, right, that is inside radius, whenever radius is equal to r1, that is inside surface, then temperature will be equal to T1. This is the first boundary condition. Then whenever radius becomes r2, whenever r is equal to r2, that is outside radius, outside r2 is outside radius, then temperature will become T2. This is the second boundary condition. Now with the help of these two boundary conditions we will do our analysis. Now my dear students, in case of plain slab we have seen that the area at each and every location was same, right? In case of plane slab, we have solved the problem for same area at each and every location. Now here, as the location changes, the area goes on changing, right? Now for conduction, always we are considering perpendicular area. So here the conduction is going radially outward. Therefore, for this perpendicular area will be this perimeter, right? That is circumference of a circle into length. Circumference into length. This will be the perpendicular area for this radially outward direction. And my dear students, as per Fourier law of conduction, we have seen this Fourier law of conduction, right? The conduction heat transfer in radial direction will be equal to minus Ka dt by dr, right? As it is in radial direction, it will be a dr with respect to dr. Therefore, this is a Fourier law of conduction, that is Qr is equal to minus K dt by dr. Now, my dear students, here the area, that is perpendicular area to the heat transfer, you can assume that it is a cylinder. You can assume your pen, right? For pen, the perpendicular area, right? For the refill of pen, the perpendicular area will be, you can see this pi d, that is perimeter, 2 pi r perimeter into length L. This will be the perpendicular area. Therefore, here area is 2 pi r into L, right? This will be the perpendicular area. Now, my dear students, here as r changing, here r is not constant, no, r is changing from r1 to r2. Therefore, as r is changing, area is also changing. Therefore, unlike plane slab problem, here area is not constant. So in integration, we have to consider this variation of area also, right? So let us write down this area, right? Now here I will erase the assumptions because already we have written these assumptions, right? Now, my dear students, therefore this heat transfer along radial direction QR is equal to minus Ka, area is 2 pi r L into dt by dr. Now, my dear students, let us separate the variables. Now consider this r on left side, dr on left side. Then what we will get? Therefore, this heat transfer along radial direction divided by r dr is equal to minus 2 pi kl dt, right? Now, my dear students, let us integrate this equation. Here r is changing from r1 to r2, then temperature is changing from T1 to T2, right? So integrate both sides. If I integrate this equation both sides, and if I put the limits here dr with respect to dr, therefore r is changing from inside radius r1 to outside radius r2. Then at the same time, this temperature is changing from inside surface temperature T1 to outside surface temperature T2. Now let us integrate. Here this conduction heat transfer is constant because it is a steady state heat transfer. With respect to distance or with respect to r, this q is not changing, right? Therefore, q is not a function of radius. Here q is not a function of radius. Therefore, with respect to radius, q is constant, we can say. Therefore, take a constant outside integration q. Now, what is the integration of 1 upon r with respect to dr? It is ln of r, ln of r, and r changes from r1 to r2 is equal to minus 2 pi kl. Now these are the constants. We have assumed uniform thermal conductivity, therefore thermal conductivity will be constant, and length of cylinder is constant. 2 pi is constant, therefore minus 2 pi kl constant. Now integration of 1 with respect to dt is t, and t changing from t1 to t2, right? Now, my dear students, here we have kept the limits. So let us simplify this equation. Therefore, if I simplify this equation, the equation of cylinder will become q. Now here put the limits. How to put the limits? First we have to put higher limit r2 minus lower limit r1 likewise. Therefore, ln of r2 minus ln of r1 is equal to minus 2 pi kl. Again here we have to put t2 minus t1 while putting limits. Therefore, 2 pi kl t2 minus t1, right? Now, my dear students, again we have one log property, ln of a minus ln of b is equal to ln of a by b, right? Use this log property over here. Therefore, the equation will become q ln of r2 divided by r1 is equal to minus 2 pi kl t2 minus t1. Now, my dear students, here we have assumed that t1 is greater than t2. Therefore, the flow is radially outward from inside radius to outside radius. Here we have written t2 minus t1. So let us write down here maximum temperature minus minimum temperature. That is, if I write T1 minus T2, then here it will become positive. Therefore, here we can say Q into ln of R2 divided by R1 is equal to 2 pi KL inside temperature minus outside temperature T1 minus T2. So my dear students, from this, let us find this Q, right? From this calculation, let us find the Q, right? Now here, if I solve for Q, the conduction heat transfer through the cylinder, right? Single cylinder, we can say here we are assuming single cylinder, right? Therefore, this Q, that is conduction heat transfer through the single cylinder Q, will be equal to 2 pi KL T1 minus T2 divided by ln of R2 divided by R1, right? Again, we know that the heat transfer Q is nothing but change in temperature divided by R thermal, that is thermal resistance in the circuit. If I draw here circuit, right, here if I draw a circuit analogy with electrical circuit, initially temperature is T1, and after the conduction heat transfer through the cylinder, the temperature becomes T2, right? And here heat is flowing through the circuit. Here heat is flowing through the circuit. And my dear students, therefore, for this heat transfer, this cylinder surface will offer some thermal resistance, which is called R of cylinder, resistance offered by the cylinder, right? And in terms of this resistance offered by the cylinder, this Q conduction heat transfer or conduction heat transfer is given as temperature difference del T, that is T1 minus T2 divided by R of cylinder, R of cylinder. Now let us equate this analogy. Therefore, we can write here this Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by whole divided by ln of R2 divided by R1 whole divided by 2 pi KL. This is how we can write. And if I equate with del T divided by R of cylinder, right, R of cylinder. So my dear students, the resistance offered by the cylinder for the conduction heat transfer will be equal to ln of R2 divided by R1 divided by 2 pi KL, right? And where in this resistance formula, R2 is outside radius, R1 is inside radius of the cylinder, K is the thermal conductivity of cylinder surface, and L is the length of cylinder, right? This is how we can find, right? Now my dear students, by equating here this R cylinder we got, that is ln of R2 divided by R1 whole divided by 2 pi KL. Now here let us observe this R cylinder. Now if this thickness of cylinder, now what we can say, thickness is nothing but this much is called thickness of cylinder. Here, just a minute, this is called thickness of cylinder T, right, where thickness is equal to R2 minus R1, right? Radius difference, that is radial difference, is called thickness. Now if thickness is very small, if this thickness is very small, then can we say this R2 becomes almost equal to R1? Therefore this ln of R2 divided by R1 almost becomes equal to ln of 1, which is equal to 0, right? Therefore my dear students, whenever thickness of this cylinder is very small and if thermal conductivity is very high, right, that is perfect conductor. If thermal conductivity is very high, that is denominator becomes very high. If thickness is very small, then numerator almost becomes equal to 0. Then this R cylinder, right, that is conduction thermal resistance through the cylinder almost becomes equal to 0 if thickness is very small and thermal conductivity is very high. Now my dear students, again if I check this resistance formula, right, here you will find that this resistance for the heat transfer through the cylinder will be ln of R2 divided by R1 divided by 2 pi KL. ln means it is a logarithmic variation. ln means it is a logarithmic variation, we can say logarithmic variation, right? So my dear students, as it is logarithmic variation, therefore the temperature profile through the cylinder, let us say there is a outside radius R2, let us say this is the outside radius R2 and inside radius R1, right? Here there will be a inside radius R1. Let us draw properly, right? Here this is the outside radius R2 and inside radius R1. Now between inside radius, that is temperature T1, at inside radius temperature T1 and at outside radius temperature T2, between these surfaces whatever may be the heat transfer will be having logarithmic variation. Therefore the curve of heat transfer like this, let us say this is a curve, right? This curve is logarithmic. The temperature decrease in temperature will be logarithmic, right? Because conduction resistance for the cylinder is logarithmic variation. Now, my dear students, in first case, we have seen conduction heat transfer through a hollow cylinder. And for this case, we got that is R of cylinder. That is the thermal resistance through the cylinder will be equal to ln of outside radius RO divided by inside radius Ri divided by 2 pi KL, where K is the thermal conductivity of cylinder material, L is the length of cylinder, right? This is how we got the conduction resistance for the cylinder. Now, my dear students, the second case, we will see the conduction heat transfer through a composite cylinder. Here, the second case, we will see the conduction heat transfer through a composite cylinder, right? Now, for composite cylinder, there will be a two cylinders. Let us say there will be a first cylinder, very first cylinder between radius R1 and R2, and second cylinder between R2 and R3. Let us say the most inside radius is R1. Let us say this is the cylinder R1, and between R2, another radius R2. Likewise, let us draw properly. Right, there will be a this is the first cylinder of radius. Inside radius is R1, outside radius R2, and again there is one more cylinder fitted over this outside radius R2 of radius. Inside radius R2 and outside radius R3. Likewise, there is one more cylinder with inside radius R2 and outside radius R3. Here there is a radius R3, right? Therefore, and length of cylinder is L. For all cylinders, length is L. Likewise, right? Length is L, we can say. Now, my dear students, here the first cylinder we can say, let us say, here this is the first cylinder with thermal conductivity K1, and this is the second cylinder with thermal conductivity K2. These are the two cylinders, and these two cylinders are one over the another, right? And my dear students, let us set the temperatures. Whenever radius R1, the temperature is T1. Whenever radius R2, the temperature of surface is T2. And whenever radius is R3, the temperature of surface is T3. And here I am assuming that the most inside temperature is highest and outside temperature is lowest. Therefore, here we can say T1 is more than T2 is more than T3. Therefore, my dear students, as this inside surface is having highest temperature, therefore the flow of heat will be radially outward. Therefore, the heat transfer Q will be radially outward like this, right? It will be radially outward like this, right? This is how there will be a heat transfer radially outward, right? Now, my dear students, as for the first cylinder, there will be a conduction resistance of first cylinder, and for second cylinder, there is a conduction resistance of second cylinder. Let us say for first cylinder, R1 is conduction resistance, for second cylinder, R2 is conduction resistance, right? And if I draw here circuit, right, whenever temperature is T1, between temperature T1 and T2, there is a first cylinder of thermal conductivity K1. Therefore, there will be a first cylinder resistance R1. There will be a R1 between temperature T1 and T2. There will be a R1 which is equal to, now R, this R through the cylinder is ln of R0 divided by Ri, that is ln of outside radius divided by inside radius divided by 2 pi KL. Therefore, for first cylinder it will be equal to ln of R2 divided by R1 divided by 2 pi K1L, right? 2 pi K1L. This is how the resistance, conduction resistance of first cylinder is calculated. Now, for second cylinder, it is between temperature T2 and T3. Therefore, between temperature T2 and T3, again there is one resistance, that is R2. That is R2, which is equal to again. Now, for second cylinder, inside radius is R2, outside radius is R3. Therefore, it is ln of R3 divided by R2 whole divided by 2 pi. Thermal conductivity of second cylinder is K2 L, right? Therefore, it is ln of R3 divided by R2 2 pi K2 L, right? This is how there will be a circuit. And my dear students, there is a heat transfer through this circuit. Here there is a heat transfer through this circuit, and heat transfer at each and every location is same, that is Q. Therefore, if I want to write this heat transfer can be written as temperature change del T divided by resistance, right? Therefore, if I write down here temperature change between 1 to 2, if I write T1 minus T2, then resistance between 1 and 2 is R1. If I write T2 minus T3, then resistance between 2 and 3 is R2, right? And my dear students, again, if I write T1 minus T3, that is total temperature difference. Then resistance between them is R1 plus R2. Resistance between them is R1 plus R2. Likewise, we can write. So, my dear students, let us write this total temperature difference. Therefore, here Q is equal to, now by equating this, that is Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by R1 is equal to T2 minus T3 divided by R2 is equal to T1 minus T3 divided by R1 plus R2. By equating these, we can find intermediate temperatures, right? And here resistance we can calculate from these formulas. Now, my dear students, therefore Q is equal to, we can write T1 minus T3 divided by R1 is nothing but, let us put the value of R1, that is ln of R2 divided by R1 divided by 2 pi K1L, right, plus R2 is nothing but ln of R3 divided by R2 divided by 2 pi K2L, right. This is how the heat transfer we can calculate, right. Now, my dear students, in case of cylinder, there is no concept such like heat flux. Now, here, because as location is changing, area is changing, area for the cylinder, which is nothing but 2 pi RL. Now, as radius changes, the area changes. Therefore, there is no concept of heat flux, that is heat transfer per unit area for the cylinder. Here, for heat transfer through the cylinder, there is a concept of heat transfer per unit length, right. Now, here this heat transfer will be having unit of watt. This will be in watt. Now, if I find heat transfer per unit length, right, let us divide both side by length. If I divide both side by length, then I will get the heat transfer per unit length, which is nothing but Q by L, which is nothing but watt per meter, This is called heat transfer per unit length, which is equal to T1 minus T3 whole divided by ln of R2 divided by R1 divided by 2 pi K1 plus ln of R3 divided by R2 divided by 2 pi K2, right. Because this divided by L, this L will go to the Q by L, that is, it is called heat transfer per unit length, and the unit will be, for this equation, the unit will be watt per meter. Now, my dear students, after understanding the concept of conduction heat transfer through a composite cylinder, let us go to the next case, that is case 3, that is conduction convection heat transfer through a composite cylinder. Now, for this conduction convection heat transfer through composite cylinder, that is case 3, here this inside surface is hollow or not? Now, here this inside surface is hollow. Therefore, for this surface, we are going to consider convection heat transfer, right? Here, inside convection heat transfer, and as well as the outside surface is exposed to the atmosphere. Therefore, for this outside surface, we are going to see the convection heat transfer to the outside here. So, let us write the conduction convection heat transfer through a composite cylinder, that is case 3. This will be our case 3. For the third case is conduction convection heat transfer through a composite cylinder. Now, let us understand here. So, my dear students, to understand this case, let us say there is a composite cylinder first. Let us say this is the inside radius of composite cylinder R1. Now, there is a first cylinder of inside radius R1 and outside radius R2. Let us say this is the first cylinder I am going to write. Draw it properly. Right. Let us say this is our first cylinder, right, with inside radius R1 and outside radius R2. Just a minute, I am drawing it properly. Let us say this is our first cylinder, right. Now, my dear students, here this cylinder will be having inside radius R1, outside radius R2, right. And on this cylinder, one more cylinder is fitted. On this cylinder, one more cylinder is fitted with which will be having inside radius R2 and outside radius R3. So let us draw this. Right, there will be one more cylinder like this. This will be the another cylinder of outside radius R3 and inside radius R2. Right, this will be R3. Right. Now, my dear students, here let us say through this inside cylinder, most inside cylinder, there are hot gases flowing. Right. Therefore, let us say through this cylinder, hot gases are flowing. Hot gases are flowing. Therefore, as there is a gas between the inside surface of this cylinder and this gas, there will be a convective heat transfer coefficient, right? Therefore, there will be H1. H1 is a convective heat transfer coefficient between the inside surface of the first cylinder and inside gas, right? And which is exposed to the area A1, right? This convection inside is exposed to the area A1, right? Therefore, there will be a area A1, right? And let us say the temperature of this gas is Tg. The inside temperature of this gas is Tg, which is having hot gas, right? Now, my dear students, let us say this first cylinder will be having thermal conductivity K1. Let us say the first cylinder will be having thermal conductivity K1, right? And let us say the inside, the surface temperature of first cylinder is T1. Here, surface temperature of first cylinder is T1, right? And surface temperature of outside surface temperature of first cylinder is T2. It should be T2, right? Therefore, between T1 and T2, there is a conduction heat transfer, and between Tg and T1, there is a convection inside convection, right? Again, the second cylinder will be having thermal conductivity K2. Let us say this second cylinder will be having thermal conductivity K2 between temperature T2 and T3. Let us say outside surface temperature of second cylinder is T3, right? And my dear students, this outside surface of second cylinder is also subjected to outside cold air. Let us say there is a outside cold air, right, outside with convective heat transfer coefficient. Now at outside there is a convective heat transfer coefficient for this cold air. Let us say the convective heat transfer coefficient is H2 for outside air, and it is at temperature T infinity. It is at temperature T infinity. This is for the outside cold air, right? Now, my dear students, let us observe here what will happen, right? Can we say between the hot gas, right? If I assume the Tg, hot gas temperature, is more than T1, is more than T2, is more than T3, is more than T infinity. If this is my assumption, right, means the maximum temperature will be inside and the minimum temperature will be outside. Therefore, the heat flow will be radially outward. The heat flow will be radially outward, right, from inward to outward like this. This will be the direction of heat transfer, right, radially outward. And this cylinder will be having some length L, right, that already we have seen. Let us say this is the length of cylinder. This cylinder will be having some length L, likewise, right. Now, my dear students, between hot gases at inside and between this inside surface, there will be a convection. Let us say this convection, there will be a convection, right? Let us say this heat transfer is Q convection between inside surface Q1, Q convection 1. Again, between first cylinder, that is between R2 and R1, there will be a conduction. So here there will be a conduction, Q conduction of first cylinder. Again, between R2 and R3, there is a conduction, therefore Q conduction of second cylinder. And my dear students, here we can say between the outside surface of the second cylinder and outside air, cold air, there will be again convection. It is convection 2. This is a convection 2, right? Therefore, there will be a convection inside. There is a conduction for inside cylinder, conduction for outside cylinder, and again convection outside. There are two convections and two conductions. And because of our assumption, that is, it is a steady state heat transfer, that is, the temperature is not a function of time, and this heat transfer at each and every location remains same. That is, convection heat transfer between the hot gases and the inner surface of the first cylinder is equal to conduction heat transfer for the first cylinder is equal to conduction heat transfer for the second cylinder is equal to convection heat transfer between the outside surface of the outside cylinder and outside air, convection heat transfer 2, right? This is called a steady state heat transfer. Now let us understand the circuit, right? Here let us understand the circuit. Now we have seen the R for the cylinder, conduction resistance for the cylinder is nothing but ln of outside radius divided by inside radius divided by 2 pi KL, right? This is the formula to find conduction resistance of a cylinder. Now, what is the convection resistance? Now, my dear students, the convection resistance is nothing but 1 upon HA, that already we have seen, right? Therefore, this is the convection resistance. And again here, for cylinder, as location is changing, area is also changing. Therefore, for inside surface, we can say for inside surface, the convection resistance will be R1. Then for first cylinder, the conduction resistance will be R2. Let us say here I will write, let us say for inside surface, this inside surface and the wall, there will be a convection resistance R1. Then for first cylinder, there will be a conduction resistance R2. For second cylinder, there will be a conduction resistance R3, sorry. And for outside surface and the outside air, cold air, there will be a convection resistance R4. There will be a 4 resistance. And if I draw here circuit, let us draw the circuit. So my dear students, in circuit there will be four resistors R1, R2 and R3. So my dear students, whenever temperature is Tg, that is most inside temperature of hot gas, right? Then between Tg and T1, there will be a R1, right? Therefore between temperature Tg and T1, so just a minute, between temperature Tg and T1 there will be a R1, right? And my dear students, this R1 is nothing but convection resistance, which is nothing but 1 upon HA. Therefore it will be equal to 1 upon H1 area 1. Now what will be the inside area? That is, area 1 will be for convection heat transfer. The area exposed is, that is 2 pi R1 into length L. Can we say 2 pi R1 for length L? Therefore we can say A1 will be equal to 2 pi R1 L. Therefore H1 into 2 pi R1 L. This will be the convection resistance for the first hot gas and the inner surface. Then between T1 and T2 there is a conduction resistance of cylinder, and this conduction resistance of cylinder is given by ln of outside radius divided by inside radius divided by 2 pi KL. Therefore for this first cylinder, outside radius is R2, inside radius is R1 and thermal conductivity is K1. Therefore between T1 and T2 there will be a conduction resistance of first cylinder, which is R2. Let us say T1 to T2 there will be R2, which is nothing but ln of R2 divided by R1, right, divided by 2 pi K1L. And again between T2 to T3 there is another cylinder for which there will be a conduction resistance of second cylinder R3, and this R3 will be, capital R3 will be between radius R3 and radius R2. Outside radius is R3 and inside radius is R2 and thermal conductivity is K2. Therefore between T2 and T3 there is one more conduction resistance, which is nothing but R3, which is equal to ln of small r3 divided by small r2 divided by 2 pi K2L. And my dear students, between T3 and T infinity there is a convection resistance, because there is a convection to the outside ambient, which is at convective heat transfer coefficient H2, right, and temperature T infinity. And my dear students, the area exposed for this outside ambient is nothing but this area A3, which is nothing but 2 pi R3L, right? Therefore this A3 we can say is equal to 2 pi R3L. This is the area exposed for outside convection for length L, right? And temperature becomes T infinity. And convection resistance is 1 upon HA. Therefore it will become 1 upon H2. Area is 2 pi R3L. So my dear students, between T3 and T infinity, that is outside temperature, there will be R4, which is nothing but 1 upon H2, 2 pi R3L. This will be the thermal circuit, and through this circuit heat is flowing, right? Through this circuit heat is flowing, Q is flowing. Now my dear students, let us find this heat transfer. Now my dear students, let us consider this thermal circuit, right? And through this circuit the heat is flowing Q at the rate, right? Now my dear students, this Q can be calculated as change in temperature divided by resistance. Now if I consider temperature change between Tg and T1, between Tg and T1 resistance is R1, therefore it will be written as Tg minus T1 divided by R1, and here we have calculated the formula for R1. If I write temperature difference T1 minus T2, right, between T1 and T2 the resistance is R2, therefore it is R2. And if I write T2 minus T3, between T2 and T3 resistance is R3, and if I write T3 minus T infinity the resistance is R4, right? This is how we can write. And similarly my dear students, if I write here temperature difference Tg minus T2, right, if I write Tg minus T2, now between Tg, that is hot gas temperature, and T2, that is interface cylinder temperature, the resistance is R1 plus R2, therefore here R1 plus R2 will come. And similarly if I write T1 minus T infinity, you can consider any temperature difference, but between this temperature difference all the resistance we have to count. Between T1 and T infinity resistance is R2 plus R3 plus R4, therefore here R2 plus R3 plus R4, right? Similarly you can write T3 or T2 minus T infinity also. For T2 and T infinity the resistance is R3 plus R4, right? And my dear students, if I consider total temperature difference, that is Tg minus T infinity, if I consider total temperature difference, that is Tg minus T infinity, then we have to consider total resistance, that is R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus R4. all the resistance we have to consider, right? And my dear students, if I consider total temperature difference and total resistance, then we can write this heat transfer in terms of overall heat transfer coefficient. And in previous lectures, we have seen already what is the meaning of overall heat transfer coefficient, right? First of all, let us calculate this Q. Therefore, this Q will be equal to Tg minus T infinity divided by, now R1 is 1 upon H1 2 pi R1L, right? Let us put here 1 upon H1 into 2 pi R1L plus R2 is ln of R2 divided by R1 divided by 2 pi K1L plus R3 is ln of R3 divided by R2 whole divided by 2 pi K2L plus R4 is 1 upon H2 into 2 pi R3L, right? This is how we can calculate the, in terms of overall resistance, we can calculate the heat transfer in watt. This will be in watt. Now, my dear students, there is a concept of overall heat transfer coefficient. Now, for overall heat transfer coefficient, this Q is written as UA delta T, where this delta T is total temperature difference. Therefore, it is UA Tg minus T infinity. UA Tg minus T infinity. Now, my dear students, this area for the cylinder is continuously varying. Now, if I calculate this overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area, that is A1, then it will be a overall heat transfer based on inside area Ui. Therefore, it will become Ui Ai Tg minus T infinity. And if I calculate this overall heat transfer coefficient based on outside area, that is A3, then it will become Uo Ao Tg minus T infinity. And my dear students, Ai is inside area, that is 2 pi R1L, and AO is outside area, that is 2 pi R3L, right? And UI is overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area, and UO is overall heat transfer coefficient based on outside area. Now, my dear students, if we equate all these equations, then we will get this Q will be equal to Tg minus T infinity whole divided by 1 upon H1 2 pi R1L plus ln of R2 divided by R1, sorry, R2 divided by R1 here, R2 divided by R1 whole divided by 2 pi K1L plus ln of R3 divided by R2 divided by 2 pi K2L plus 1 upon H2 into 2 pi R3L, 1 upon H2 here, write properly, H2 into 2 pi R3L will be equal to, again it will be in watt. This is again equal to, here Tg minus T infinity can I write here as, this is equal to Q is equal to Tg minus T infinity divided by 1 upon UA. Similarly, we can write like this, right? And my dear students, if I write Ui Ai, Uo Ao, then here this will become Q is equal to Tg minus T infinity divided by 1 upon Ui Ai, which is equal to Tg minus T infinity upon 1 upon Uo Ao. Similarly, we can write, right? So here in these equations, put the value of Ui here, Ai and Ao. Put the value of Ai and Ao. Therefore, this we can equate with Tg minus T infinity divided by Ui into Ai is 2 pi R1L is equal to Tg minus T infinity divided by Uo into Ao is 2 pi R3 into L, right? This is how we will get this heat transfer in watt, right? In watt. Now, my dear students, let us find this overall heat transfer coefficient on based on inside area. Here there will be a Ui. Initially there will be a Ui, and then if I consider outside area, Uo. Right. Let us find this overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area and outside area. Now here, if I equate this term, right, this bracketed term with the first term for overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area, then I will get here, by equating this, I will get 1 upon Ui, that is Ui is overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area. This will be equal to, let us equate them, it will be equal to 1 upon H1. Now, my dear students, here just we are equating, here I am going to write direct result. This type of calculation is a full level calculation. if you are not able to solve such type of calculations, then it is a big problem for gate examination, because in gate examination such type of simplifications you have to do as quickly as possible. So my dear students, here I am directly writing the result: plus 1 upon h1 plus r1 divided by k1 into ln of r2 divided by r1 plus r1 divided by k2 ln of r3 divided by r2 plus r1 divided by r3 into 1 upon h2. 1 upon h2. This will be the overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area. And what is the unit of u? U unit is watt per meter square Kelvin. Therefore the equation unit will be 1 upon u will become meter square Kelvin divided by watt. Here write down properly. The equation unit will be meter square Kelvin divided by watt. And similarly, if I equate the first term, here bracketed with blue color, with last term, then I will get overall heat transfer coefficient on based on outside area, that is 1 upon UO will be equal to, here the definition will become R3 divided by R1 into 1 upon H1 plus R3 divided by K1 ln of R2 divided by R1 plus R3 divided by K2 ln of R3 divided by R2 plus 1 upon H2. And this will be the overall heat transfer coefficient. UO is overall heat transfer coefficient on based on outside area. The unit will be meter square Kelvin per watt. Right? And UI is overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area, that is AI or A1, which is A1. And UO is overall heat transfer coefficient based on outside area, that is AO, which is nothing but A3. Right? Now my dear students, if the thickness of cylinder is very small, thickness of first cylinder T1 is nothing but R2 minus R1, right? That is the thickness of first cylinder, which is approximately equal to, let us say, 0 if very small. And thickness of second cylinder, which is T2, which is nothing but R3 minus R2 and is approximately equal to 0, that is very small. That means we are saying that if the thickness of cylinder is very small, then this R1 becomes almost equal to R2 and R2 almost becomes equal to R3. Therefore the ratio, that is R1 divided by R2 ratio, becomes equal to 1 approximately, and R2 divided by R3 ratio also becomes equal to approximately 1. Therefore from this R1 divided by R3 ratio also approximately becomes equal to 1, right? So if I put here, then this conduction resistance will go, right? Then this overall heat transfer coefficient, that is 1 upon UI, will become equal to overall heat transfer coefficient based on inside area. UI will become equal to 1 upon overall heat transfer coefficient based on outside area will be equal to 1 upon H1 plus 1 upon H2. Right? This is how we can write if thickness is neglected and if thermal conductivity is very high for the cylinders. Right? This is how we can write here. And the unit of overall heat transfer coefficient is, the unit of U and EH are same. For unit, here I am writing here units, right? That is watt per meter square Kelvin. Here I am not saying U is equal to H. For units, they have same units, right? Thank you, dear students. In next lecture, we will see numerical on this topic.